I am here with fashion designer Denzel Parris. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm doing wonderful, man. Doing wonderful.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Like I was telling you, like I came across you through Instagram. Like I was just scrolling, like I really was inspired by a lot of the work you're doing. Can you talk a little bit about like what inspires your collections and how do you translate that inspiration into your designs?
Okay. Well, the inspiration comes from a lot of things. For one, I think a lot of my Caribbean upbringing. I'm from St. Lucia. I don't know if I had mentioned that at all, but well, especially when we were younger, we were exposed to more formal occasions very early. So, the need for a tailored suit, a tailored garment, and not just the clothing, but how you conduct yourself in that environment. That was really what inspired my direction in terms of design. So that's why I decided to go into tailored suits and formal evening wear first. Apart from that, I get a lot of inspiration from music. To be honest with you, I don't really start sketching until I listen to some form of music. And then from there, I envision the scenario that that music would be playing in, and then I design from that point of view.
That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you walk us through your design process from concept to finished product?
So I love to play with silhouettes because, truth be told, when I first started getting into fashion, um, when I first started taking it seriously, I wasn't very well versed on the use of color and materials yet. So all I had was I had to make sure the silhouette or the outline of the garment I'm designing was something unique. So I typically start with a shape that I like. Sometimes it comes from a random anything that I see driving down the street. Or what I used to do when I was younger is my room wasn't always the cleanest. So when traffic would be driving past the room at night, the headlights would shine in the room and it would illuminate a silhouette on the wall. And I would quickly try to sketch the silhouettes that I would just do that hundreds and hundreds of times. This was like in the early days. So I kind of decided to develop my garments from those silhouettes and then fill in the blanks, so to speak, where I want to put a collar or a seam or that's really how I start. Then once we get the silhouette done, we know how it's going to fall on the body. Then we figure out color, and then we figure out fabric. So I guess I do it backwards to most designers.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Are there particular themes, art forms, or experiences that most influence your aesthetic?
Um, I would say this is interesting. Corporate culture, and I really love uniforms. For some reason, I pay attention to uniforms when people are walking by on the street, whether it's a cop or I actually used to work at LAX for a little while, and I would always make it a point to see what the air hostesses were wearing, more so from other countries like Air Seoul or another airline from another country outside the US, as well as the pilots. So I really get a lot of inspiration from corporate culture, uniform culture, uniforms of any kind. I like consistency. So I like to add that into whatever I'm doing.
How do you stay current with rapidly changing fashion trends?
Ooh. To be completely honest with you, I don't want to say I don't and sound arrogant, like I don't pay attention. Um, One of my earliest clients, I remember she told me, what you're doing is not really trendy at all. You're more on the timeless side. So just stick with that. So, I mean, now that we're getting ready to move into ready to wear because there's a success of the custom side, I want to incorporate, bits and pieces of what's current, but it's not something that I focus too much on because good clothing is good clothing, good design is good design. But I feel like you don't really have to try to stay abreast of that stuff because if you're just aware of your surroundings, you're naturally gonna be tuned into what's going on, and that's naturally gonna filter in whatever you're doing. You're gonna see the same pant legs everywhere. So as you're designing, that's more or less gonna subconsciously or consciously influence what you're doing. So it's not something I actively try to do, as it's not something I focus on, but I just stay attuned into what's going on around me, pay attention, look around, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely have to be aware of what's going on around. And I think that's like so important in life. What would you say sets your work apart from other designers in the industry?
Uh, Silhouette and functionality. So a lot of my pieces, especially with the suits, which is done really well, women's suits in particular, is I try to encompass something because I'm very confident in my work, but I always look at the people I aspire to be like or grow to be. And I always think to myself, why would somebody choose a Balmain blazer versus my blazer? I know my blazer is great, but Balmain's been around for quite a few decades longer than me. So there needs to be a distinguishing quality, which is where the use of silhouette comes in, the shape of the garment. But I don't want to take it too far where the average person seeing it can't see themselves in it. So I try to make sure that everything I design is unique with aesthetic, but very functional for the everyday person, even for the person who doesn't really care about fashion or high fashion. They just want something good to wear to work or to a special occasion. So I would say bringing uniqueness and functionality. That's what separates me apart.
That's really cool. You mentioned being inspired by designers. What are some of the designers that inspired you?
Oh, okay. So, well, first I'll say my late mentor, Andre Leon Talley. He definitely was an inspiration of mine. We had met and really started our relationship. Unfortunately, not too long before he passed a few years back. But I used to watch his documentaries as a kid because I was fascinated by his knowledge of the fashion industry. Because he rubbed shoulders with the greats from Karl Lagerfeld, Yves Saint Laurent, all of the guys on the Mount Rushmore of my industry. So I was definitely inspired by him, more so for his know-how and knowledge. Outside of that, Balmain, definitely an inspiration because I love tailored suits. What he did with tailoring definitely kind of pushed me in that direction. Um, a lesser known designer, but still just as great, Joseph Pont. He was a creative director for Del Pozo, a Spanish atelier, and Tom Ford. Tom Ford. I love how he entered the industry. I love how unapologetic about his brand identity he is. And yeah, those are the designers I'd say that definitely pushed me to inspired me and pushed me as well.
Oh, that's amazing. What are your long-term goals as a designer, and how do you plan to achieve them?
So long term, for the longest time, I saw myself as a niche designer,
Mhm.
um, which is great. I still want to keep maintain that culture and that intimacy with clients. But to be honest with you, it's always been in the back of my mind to get into those big doors, the Bergdorfs, the Harrods overseas, the Saks, the Neiman's. But outside of that, what I really want to grow is not just a fashion brand, but a community of people who are moving, who are doing things in life, because those are the people who most likely my clients are, and those are people I really seek to help as they get ready for whatever their day entails. So I really want to build a community around my design of movers, shakers, thinkers, people who are looking to build something. That's who I address. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah, it most definitely does. Thank you so much for taking the time, and definitely check out your website, denzelparis.co, and then also on Instagram at Denzel Paris. I really appreciate you for taking the time.
thank you, man. I appreciate you taking the time to hear me out.
Anytime. Have a
All
great
right.
day.
You too.